Okay, this is going to be the water heater and the garage door opener, automatic garage door opener video. Two birds with one stone. The water heater is a pretty simple arrangement, so I'm going to try not to confuse everybody too much. This is a 1-year-old 50-gallon water heater. What I'm not noticing here is a green tag. This water heater does not appear, a building permit does not appear to have been issued for the installation of this water heater. So, what do we have? 50 gallons, 1 year. Gas line has a sediment trap, automatic automatic ignition, electronic ignition. Okay, this is the safety pan. The safety pan should not discharge into the garage. It should discharge to the exterior. Now I get it, this is the garage floor, and it's sloped down this way, but when that water goes down, if it goes down, and I hope it doesn't, but it's going to take, it's going to affect any storage that's along this wall. It will. Gas line has a sediment trap, I already mentioned it. This is the temperature pressure relief valve. This temperature pressure relief valve is supposed to be insulated like these water supply lines. Alright? And this is called a union fitting. It's threaded. This fitting right here is threaded. Temperature pressure relief valves are supposed to be insulated, and their drain lines are not supposed to be threaded. They're supposed to not be threaded. You're not supposed to be capable of capping this off. I get it. You're probably not going to do that. I understand. You're probably not going to do that. But I didn't write the code. This is the code. It's not supposed to be threaded fittings. The drain line comes out. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At a minimum, we have 5 bins. At a maximum, you're allowed 5 bins. But I can only assume. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the temperature pressure relief drain, and it's not supposed to be further from the ground than 6 inches. The TMP drain line should have an extension on it, not a threaded one. It should have an extension, takes it down just a little farther. When the water comes out of here, it's 200 psi at 200 degrees. It's some steam. It's pretty major stuff. So that's why they don't want it too high, so that it can bounce off of the sidewalk here on the front porch and splash that way. We're just trying to avoid problems here. So what do we learn? We learned that our drain line drains into the garage floor. We learned that we don't have a building permit. We learned that we have threaded fittings on the temperature pressure relief valve drain line. We learned that we do have an expansion tank. It'd be nice if the insulation came a little farther down here. There's another thing we learned. That's the electrical bonding for the electrical system. And we kind of expected to see that there, but I'm just making notes. All right. What is this? Okay. I'm nosy. I want to make sure it's right. Okay, so we learned that it's not insulated. We learned that it's got threaded fittings. We learned that it discharges too high. We learned that the drain line discharges onto the garage floor. That's what we learned. So, let's advance. Intermission time. A little inspector theater. Here we go. Alright. Can I come in? Come on in, Mr. Fire. The door is open for you. You always make me feel so warm and welcome. Why, crack me up. I love that joke. I'm sorry. You suffer. I know. But the thing is that these doors, we're supposed to separate the living space from the garage space. Garage space from the living space. We're supposed to separate these things because as much as we may like some of the stuff out here, okay, we want most of the stuff we care about's in the house. Well, birth certificates, marriage certificates, all those kinds of things. That's where our stuff is. So this door should have a spring on it. Self-closing spring. So that way. Now I took mine off. I'm carrying my groceries in. So I took mine off. I made an educated decision to do a foolish thing. It's a nice sized pantry here, by the way. But anyway, no spring. Inspector theater is over. Handy note. This since we're in the garage and this is the garage door opener, so I'm going to cover a couple details. And one of the details is that this house does not have a lawn sprinkler irrigation system. So it does not have that. There's another thing that I like to take a note of. We're going to get there. This is hand labeled. It's supposed to be printed. This register is supposed to be printed, not hand labeled like that. This control button is higher from the threshold and the garage floor than 5 feet. That's a good thing. It keeps the little hands from coming up. What we do not have is a safety warning notice posted here. We don't have that. Coming on along, on the bottom, first panel, second panel, third panel, fourth panel. Same thing with bricks, same thing with shingles. On the first panel, we're supposed to have a pull handle, and you have one of those. That's a good thing. But we do not have is spring tension notices. On each corner of the first panel, there should be a spring tension notice. Do not have that. Another thing, the optic sensors, they're supposed to be no higher than 6 inches from the garage floor, and they are no higher than 6 inches from the garage floor. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. The manual door lock, it has not been decommissioned. You can close this door. You can close this door and lock it. Forget about it. Send somebody over here. Here's the combination to get into my house. They don't know you locked it. Now the door gets all pulled and crazy and wank and broken and stuff. We don't want that happening. We don't want that happening. We've got an emergency pull handle right here. Now the age of the house, the vintage of this house, it does not have, the garage ceiling is not GFCI protected. We don't expect that. Well, let's find out. We've got GFCI right here. This would be it, right? Still got the light. Still got the door. It's a little loud. The courtesy lights are working. It is not on GFCI. And the only way I test it is with the optic sensor. I do not do the block test. Block tests can be important. They might be important to you. I've got instructions on how to perform a block test baked inside of your report. So those instructions are there, as long as with all these other notes and more notes than these videos provide. But so that's what we've got, and you know, that's how I test the safety reverse. Do no harm. It's a business decision that I made, and it's baked into my inspection agreement. And I'm telling you here, that's what we did. So what did we learn about the garage door opener? We learned that we do not have a safety notice posted on the control button. We learned that we do not have a safety notice posted. Well, maybe we do. We learned that we do not have spring tension notices posted on the front 2 corners. We learned that the manual door lock has not been decommissioned, and that's not a safety notice. That's not a safety. I mean, it's a caution notice. You know, it's probably the spring tension notice, but it's not a safety notice. So we learned we do not have GFCI. We learned that we do not have a safety notice. Manual door lock has not been disabled. Do not have spring tension notices. Do not have a safety notice posted here by the light.